afternoon and welcome to RubbinMinds. My name is Isabella Adediji. You'll agree with me that Nigeria is at the crossroads as we walk into another election season. We're already seeing the politicking happening. We're seeing the cross-carpeting. We're seeing Nigerians coming out en masse to ask for better leadership, to demand governance, to ensure that promises are kept, and they're playing their part by holding the leaders accountable. We're talking about security, the economy, democracy. These are the issues we'll be discussing, and joining me for this conversation, I'm joined by a governance consultant in the person of Decry Adaramera. Welcome to RubbinMinds.
Thank you.
And we're also joined via Zoom by a political commentator, Emir Sedams. Welcome to RubbinMinds.
Very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. I'll start with you, Decry. Let's just look at the politicking happening in the country. We're seeing leaders who have forgotten their actual work and they are focusing on the ticket. They're focusing on being in the right party. They're focusing on getting everyone aligned and leaving governance. We can see what's happening in Rivers State. What do you make of this, and what does it say of our democracy?
It's one of the tragedies of Nigeria's democracy. If anything, they say the first 2 years is to recover the money they invested in the election. The next 2 years is to plan for the next one. So at no point during the entire tenure does governance happen. I think it's ultimately a reflection of the kind of system that we're in and what our leaders are, shall we say, permitting. If you look at the case of Rivers State right now, it's an absolute mess, right? The governor is currently part of the APC, and seemingly the APC, to an extent, the presidency is allowing somebody who is in an opposition party to go to war against its own party member. It's quite embarrassing, and to me it doesn't show any consistent level of leadership, because right now I think the president is caught between his own party leaders who are of the opinion that they must support somebody who is their leader in that state, and Nelson Wike, who on the other hand, we don't know the nature of his relationship with the president, but the president seems to have given him a long leash, shall we say, to do a lot of things that are both embarrassing to the country, but especially embarrassing to the presidency and to his party as well.
I'd like to hear from you, Emir Sedams. I mean, where does the Constitution come in? I mean, we should have checks and balances. There should be limits. It should protect the people to ensure that governance happens, not at the expense of politics.
Unfortunately for me, I will say that we are running a unconstitutional government right now, a system whereby the rule of law does not apply. I say, in the government of Tinubu for Tinubu by Tinubu. So it is something that I cannot for certain speak on constitutionality with this government in place. So what we're seeing right now is just rascality and absolute abuse of the rule of law. So for me, the people that are meant to check and balance the Constitution, the judiciary, the lawmakers, they are all in tandem, they're all in bed with the executive. So we as a people, we cannot be talking about rule of law. There is no rule of law as it is right now in Nigeria.
Decry, those are very indicting words, and you can't talk about politics without talking about the economy, because at the end of the day, people are thinking about food in their bellies. They're thinking about sustenance of their families, paying school fees, paying rent, being able to just get by to the next day. How would you rate this government? I mean, we're getting to almost the eve of this administration in terms of economic performance.
I would say, in terms of their policy and decision making around economics, it shows a certain callousness and disregard for the well-being of the normal Nigerian, right? Because while some of the steps that they have taken are arguably correct, the sequence and the timing of these things are so poor. In the last 2 years, we've seen the removal of fuel subsidy. Yes, we all agree it's good, but you remove that, you float the naira at the same time, and then you introduce a taxation on it and everybody. It's absolutely insane that any government would do that sequence of events within a period of about 2 years, knowing what the Nigerian people are going through, knowing how that has led to inflation. It's just cold. it shows a certain disconnect, and that's understandable, because when you are ferried from your air-conditioned office through your air-conditioned car where they clear the entire road for you, it's very hard for you to really understand what the Nigerian people are going through. And it's showing in the terms of the average Nigerian today is worse off than they were 2 years ago. That's a fact, and it's just unfortunate.
I want to move the conversation to security. Emma Adams, how safe do you feel plying Nigerian roads? I don't know if you have family members or friends in different parts of the country. When last have you done maybe a road trip, for example? Because the news we hear these days of accidents, of banditry, of kidnapping, acts of terrorism just seem to become normal, that Nigerians are almost getting, used to it.
It's unfortunately what we're seeing is security in the country. I think we're in the worst time ever in Nigeria when it comes to insecurity. You just highlighted a whole lot of these things: kidnapping, armed robbery, bad roads, accidents. We have seen the top most Nigerians being affected by these things. So there have been no change in the insecurity. It's even getting worse. I say that, for me, the second most lucrative job in Nigeria after politics today is kidnapping. We see Nigerians gather to pay ransom, to crowdfund to pay ransom for kidnapped victims across the country. We have people that have been kidnapped from the north to the south to the east and west. There is no region in Nigeria right now that is free from kidnapping. It is insane where we are right now as a country when it comes to insecurity. So look at Edo State. Edo State that used to be one of those states that you could say was once a peaceful state. Right now, it's like we saw students protesting in Ekuma just last week due to the incessant amount of kidnapping. We see CCTV videos of these kidnappers entering people's homes. This is like taking Nigeria back to the 80s, where we used to have, I think, where criminals used to write letters and tell people we are coming to people's house. So that is where we are right now. We're back to the dark days in our country, and it is absolutely insane what is happening. Our security apparatus that you expect to, be at the top of the game when it comes to this, the only time they are very visible is when we have elections or protests. That's when you know that we have helicopters in Nigeria. That's when you know that the police have gadgets to use. That's when you know that they know how to come out and do their jobs. So we are in a point in time in our country whereby Nigerians are so unsafe, and I don't even see any light at the end of the tunnel, unfortunately.
Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel? And I mean, we're seeing even other countries putting Nigeria on a risk list, telling their presidents are telling their citizens not to visit Nigeria except is of utmost importance. So are you safe? And what does this say of our image internationally?
There is hope, in the sense that if the government decides to take committed action, there is hope, right? I'm not a believer in the fact that the Nigerian project has failed. I believe that there's a possibility, but we need to have the right leaders. A right leader in this position right now should be thinking about enacting that policing act to ensure that state policing can go ahead. That's one of the easiest solutions, because what it then does is it allows states that are willing to progress and have the resources and the internally generated revenue to support a serious security architecture, to be able to make decisions, to be able to take action where it's needed. So I think that's definitely one of the first things they should do. And then secondly, we need to look at how well we're paying our servicemen and women. Beyond how valuable do they feel their life is? Because there tends to be this disdain somehow with policemen and army officials, because when we encounter them as civilians, it's often, on favorable terms. But in reality, let's look at the quality. For those of us who have been into the barracks for whatever reason, and we've seen the quality of the conditions these people are living in, how do you expect them to go to the front line and effectively fight Boko Haram? How do you expect them to feel when they know that the Boko Haram that they die fighting today can come out tomorrow and repent, and his sins will be forgiven? So it's about high time that we invest into the actual security infrastructure. And it's not complicated. It's not for a lack of idea. It's for a lack of willingness that this government seems to be taking every other step but the right step.
Very, very harsh words there. I think when you look at security, it's something that affects everything. Like, you can't even talk about the economy without talking about security. And you think that with all these issues, the government focus will be on securing the lives. But what we're seeing is tax, about economic, trying to get more money from Nigerians. I'll move to you, Emerson Adams. And when we look at this whole tax thing, do you think that this is the right time for Nigerians to be taxed? And has the government gone about it in the right way? Because we've heard different things that, oh, what was gazetted was different from what was actually discussed. And, Nigerians are asking, okay, who do we believe? And the president says, whether or not we like it, January 1, the new tax regime is enforced.
I will say this, right? I had a very controversial take on the tax and with Mr. Ayobele on X. I am of the opinion that no sane society, you cannot build any society on taxation. No developed country in the world today was built based off taxation. The tax system is meant to be a system created to help pushing government policies already, government infrastructure already. The taxation actually is meant to be a system whereby it helps when government have provided the basic amenities, the good roads, the good water, electricity, basic health care, then the taxation will come in, then you can now tax the people that use our taxation to maintain these structures that you have created. But in a country whereby you have not produced any of these things, I produce my electricity, I dig my borehole, I provide my water, I provide my own security, I join hands with my friends to build our roads, our healthcare is in shambles. You have no right taxing such people. It is we are starting from Z to A. It is an abnormality. It only happens in Nigeria. If you have provided these basic amenities for Nigerians, you don't have to. Nigerians are the most easiest people to please. We don't ask for much. A government will spend 8 years building one road. Like this Tinubu's government right now, the only thing that they can boast of is what? Coastal road. And you see people cheering them. We are not the hard people to please. Just do those basic things for us, and we will willingly pay taxes. Abia State is an instance for it. I always use Abia State when I talk about this taxation. And Eswati came into government, and what did he do? He stopped all these taxations. He stopped everything, and he was like, let me get into work. Let me show these people from Abia that I can do something. And when he started doing his work, he started seeing the projects being done in the state. When he came in with the taxation, the people willingly paid. So Nigerians are not the difficult people to please. So for me, it is putting the cart before the wheel, or how they put state, or the horse before the cart. It is insane what we are seeing in our country today. Nigeria have no business paying taxes as it stands right now. I go back to what we have, mineral resources wise, natural mineral resources. We are blessed with abundant solid mineral resources. We never talk about these things. We are blessed with oil and gas. We never talk about these things. We are blessed with arable land. We never talk about these things. A government that has failed to diversify the economy should not be taxing the people. There are 1,000,001 ways of raising funds in Nigeria. We are a very extremely wealthy country. We just have people that are in office that do not understand governance. All they understand is politics, politics, politics. And as long as the same set of people are running the affairs of this country, we will keep seeing such ill anti-people policies like this taxation has not been put into place. And unfortunately for them, the good thing that they have running for them is that we have a massive, a humongous amount of Nigerians that are ill-informed. So even what I'm saying right now, many Nigerians are going to be bearing the brunt of this taxation will come and say, what is he saying? What do you mean by you should not pay tax? How do you want the government to function? I have just highlighted and listed so many ways the government can function without our taxes. But in a Tinubu government, trust the propaganda, trust their vuvuzelas, and understand that Nigerians, if we don't stand up for our right, honestly speaking, this taxation will happen. I already know it's going to happen because we are the greatest adjusters in the world.
I mean,
know how to adjust. I will move on to it. But go back to you, please.
Yeah, time will tell how Nigerians adjust to this new tax regime. I'll move to you, Dakwa. Still on the issue of tax, we see that this government still borrows a lot of money. We're still spending a huge amount of the budget servicing debts. What creative ways can this government address all these pending issues, from the debt servicing to building the infrastructure to ensuring that cost of living does not actually kill Nigerians before all the other issues that have been mentioned so far?
It's very simple. If you have a person who maybe is a gambling addict, right, increasing his salary will not solve his problems. And what I mean by that is the Nigerian government doesn't have as much of an earning problem as it does the leakage problem. We all know that corruption is rampant, and that is one of the things impacting Nigeria. Okay, take for example just two people now, the former Attorney General of the Federation and the former CBN governor, who allegedly combined stole almost 1 trillion naira. That's trillion with a T. It's about 900 and something billion naira that they stole. That is enough to pay for the whole education sector for about 6 months, according to the 2025 budget. Two people stole that amount of money. That is more than 6 times what we spend on research and development as an entire nation in a year. 2 individuals stole that amount of money.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right? Now, when we look at things like that, we understand that, okay, if only 2 people have allegedly been caught or involved in this, let's look at what of the scale of this corruption, how far would it go, and how much of our budget is actually being wasted as a result of that. So that is, I think, the most pressing issue that any government, because corruption is a rot, and no matter the policies you bring in, it will affect everything. It will destroy anything that it sees in its path, right? And so taxation at this time is just blatantly a misdirection, or shall we say a misstep. But there is one benefit to the taxation, right? I think for far too long, the Nigerian people have been able to lie to themselves that the money that is being stolen, the money that is disappearing, is not their money because it's being dug out of an oil well somewhere in the south, right? But now the money will be taken directly from their pockets, so that by the time the election comes round and you have paid tax in tears, and somebody should tell you, I will give you 5K for your vote, you will slap him, you beat him, and you will tell him, no way. I would rather vote for a government that is going to care and look after me, because now I'm paying out of pocket. I think that is probably the only benefit we can get from this taxation system.
Thank you very much, Dapo Adaramewa, for your contributions on RubbinMinds, and Emma Sedams. Thank you very much.